Hi, my name is Dalia and welcome to my vlog. Before we start, little disclaimer. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a journalist or any kind of professional person. I'm just a young neighbor who experienced things, sharing with you my funny stories or mine or my friends or people I know. So with disclaimer we're done, let's do the topic. As you might already read the topic, I will talk about sleeping paralysis. However, first of all, I have a question. Do you believe in the ghosts? Do you believe in superstition things? Or witches or vampires, those kind of stuff? I'm sure some of you already read a lot of myths. You probably saw those kind of mysterious things in the National Gallery drawings. Maybe you even saw some movies or animation things. Telling me, I'm not kind of like believer of ghosts and superstition things, or telling that no, it's not exist. I may not. There's no much of proof of are they real or not real. So I'm somewhere in the middle. Probably maybe a little bit more believe in the things what they might be tested and proved. However, you never know. So, what happened? I was traveling with my friends to an amazing country, which one you already know, but it was different time. I believe it was autumn. Yeah. So we traveled in Prague. Some of you probably even heard stories, mysterious stories and myths and legends about Prague, about the ghosts, all those superstition things, right? Me as well, of course. However, when you when you experience those things or see those things, it's a little bit no fun. So we're traveling with my friends. We stay a few days in a hotel. Then we went to the city. We saw things around, and one of my friends decided, like, let's go to the night guide. And to have a guide man who's gonna tell those things about the ghost, about the stories, about the buildings, all those kind of legend, myth things, mysterious things. So when I heard my friend talking about those things, I was like, that's quite interesting idea. Why not? Because we might seeing the city from different view. Will be different lightings. Sounds not bad. And my other friend was like saying, yes, let's go. So we all collect the money, what we have. We found a guide on internet. We paid the money and we went. And the internet was saying in the specific spot where we have to all people come. So we came, and I'm not to remember, it was like 15 or 20 people around, something like that. So we was on a spot waiting. And there was one guy coming out of like corner of the building with a raincoat, mask on the face, and cylinder hat on the head. And he had the stick, and on another hand he had some kind of like a bottle with some elixir or something like that. So yeah, that man was a professional actor, as I understood. And the way how he spoke stories, almost myths, legends, his voice was really like trained very well. Obviously he's actor, and he had few of his companions, partners, who was helping to improvise things. Some of them was like pretending to be a ghost, another pretend to be some kind of dead person or vampire. I'm not quite really remember what kind of personage was, but everything was amazingly done. You can felt like you are in a story or like a part of a story. There was some few kids and teenagers, young couples, and me with my friends. We was walking around in the streets. He was pointing in at some buildings, which when I saw them in the daytimes, and at nighttime they looked really like a creepy and a little bit mysterious. You know, it was kind of interesting. And I heard some stories which one I never heard before. And then, you know, other two actors are having, like, they are in the personage character, acting, making voices and all that stuff. You really get into it and you're enjoying it and then you are exciting about those things. I really remember he was having some elixir, so he was giving us to try. I think it was a brandy. I don't remember the brand, but he gave us for one short. There was like a game. If you will drink, then you will pass. It was one thing. It was like if you will give the coins or not turn around because behind you might be someone. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. I still remember the words what the guy said. He was saying, be aware. Maybe after this trip what you had with me, there was a ghost around us, and maybe you will bring someone with you. I was like laughing off it. I was like, what are you talking about? What kind of creepy things you're telling? Yeah. However, that evening and next morning, I never felt like that anymore. It wasn't funny. After the trip, we came back to hotel. We eat the dinner over there, and I was about to go to sleep. Personally, me, I have sometimes the problems to fall asleep. If you know this kind of thing like insomnia, so I am suffering sometimes of this kind of sleeping disorder. I'll explain later what it is. In the same room with me, I was sleeping with my friend. She had her bed, I was having my bed. Another two other friends was sleeping in another room. So we didn't know what happened. Personally, even my other friend who was sleeping next to me didn't understand what was happening. Then I finally fall asleep. I was having kind of like a nightmare. So the dream was about I was in the street, as I remember, was running. Someone was after me. I was get into the hotel. I was running quickly by the stairs to reaching the room. I was getting in the room and I was trying to lock the door, but all I heard that it just the steps of a person or creature or whatever was really after me, and the sound was getting just louder and louder and louder. And then I finally managed to lock the door. That creature started hitting very aggressively and loudly, and with the hue of his all power, the door. I get so scared. I turn around to my friend and I was like trying to talk to her that, look, I need your help. There's someone want to get inside our room. You have to help me. We really hold the door because I believe that monster gonna break the door. I was so scared, so terrified because I didn't know what is the monster want from me. Is it a person? Because it looks like a man, but a big man, or it's an animal. Looked very scary. So when I jumped on the bed, I covered myself with a blanket, and I was trying to pretend that that monster not gonna see me. However, the monster managed to get in the room and slowly creeping towards me. And when I finally get close to me, he was like trying to pull the blanket off me, and I was trying to stare at me. And I was trying to look at that monster, I didn't saw the face. I was just like a mass of something, like a shadow or like some kind of animal. I don't know how to explain, but it was so heavy, and the atmosphere in the room was so heavy. And the scariest part was I was trying to talk, I was trying to move, and suddenly I couldn't do that. I open my eyes and I see that monster close to the door, which one he or she or whatever already opened, and again creeping close to me. But I cannot move. I'm trying to talk, but I cannot talk. So kind of later on I realized what had happened. But the thing is, the scary part was like, there's a lot of scary parts actually. Now it's funny, yeah? Like my dream slowly get to the reality. But in the dream, I could walk and run and do things. But in the reality, I just see things, what I saw in the dream. But I cannot move my body. I was trying to yell, but it's impossible. My whole body and my lungs, it's like a stone. Everything is like not moving. You cannot breathe in. You feel like this. You're terrifying. And I was like, I fell asleep actually on a little bit on the side. So with one eye, I could see in the peripheral vision, peripheral angle, I saw my friend sleeping next to me in another bed. And she was sleeping nicely without any move. Can you imagine? I see my friend sleeping without any problems, and at the same time I see the door. There is that creature trying to creep close to me and scaring me. And I see those two things. I felt so scared that I cannot manipulate situation. I cannot do anything at all. And next to me, other person doesn't even have a clue what's going on in the room. Of course, I was trying to talk again, but it's impossible. And suddenly, few seconds after this terrifying feeling, that creature of my dream get out quickly of my room. The door slapped so quickly, and then the sound was like I even heard like a window is like trembling and moving everything. It was so loud and so scared. And I was trying to fall asleep again, kind of sleeping, or it's very hard to tell what actually I felt because it's indescribable. However, I don't remember when I fall asleep actually, but I really remember next morning. So we had included breakfast and dinner. It was a time for our breakfast. My friend waked me up and we went to the restaurant of the hotel. We started talking things around our experience, all that stuff. Two of our friends were sleeping by then, probably falling asleep too late, I don't know. Anyway, so we was two of us. I was looking at my friend and I saw that she's not like, she looks normal without any worries or something. And myself was very little bit in a, I can't call it a bad mood, but a little bit terrified. So I slowly start talking about the last night, our experience, our trip, about that guide, about that man, about all those kind of playing games. And I said to her, do you have any idea what happened yesterday? Did you hear the things? And she was like, what are you talking about? What kind of dreams? What happened yesterday? everything what I remember, we went to the bed, fall asleep, and I wake up. What are you talking about? Her eyes was that big. She was looking at me like, what are you talking about? Are you okay? So I start talking to her. I tell her all the things, what I was experiencing, what I saw, what kind of sound, what back then, and that someone was trying to get in our room, was hitting very hard the door, slapped the door that hard that even windows was trembling. She was looking at me like, and what I was doing. I said to her, you were sleeping peacefully without any problems. She was like, really? Then all that happened in our room. I was sleeping? I said, yeah, darling, you were sleeping. So we both not having a clue what it was. However, after having a breakfast, we went outside. We had a coffee in the coffee shop. We went to museum. But still, my mind was still about those things. So when we was already back again to the hotel room, I started doing my research. I started looking around, and finally I found what it was. Of course, I saw a lot of myths about the history, legends, all those kind of things. But when I went to the more medical sites, so I figured out I was experiencing sleeping paralysis. So what it is? Sleeping paralysis, it's why the happening? It might happen, as it was saying in the site, it might happen when you're waking up or when you are falling asleep. So there is some specific mode when your brain it's paralyzing all your muscles, so you cannot move actually. It's for your safety that you're not gonna fall off the bed. It's a long story by how the people we was developed. So this kind of thing from long time ago, when we were still living in trees and all that stuff. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that later. And your brain is in an active mode. Your muscles cannot be moved, so all your body is paralyzed, but your brain is active. So in some point, you see the dreams, you are in conclusion and non-conclusion at the same time. So that's why you see like visions of things what it's actually not there, but you are kind of like between awaking and not awaking or sleeping or something in the middle. I'm not a medical person. I'm not quite sure this is how I understood. And there is another thing. Nobody knows why actually it happens. The only thing as a resource is done, maybe you will find some more information about that, but this is what I found. That this is some kind of a link or the insomnia, which I told you before, I do suffer from that. But I never thought there is some links between those things. I will tell you later what insomnia is. However, as I understood, there is no cure of that, and it's not some kind of big problem. It's just really scary thing to experience. Also, I was reading another articles that was saying that people usually who is going through a lot of stress, students who needs to pass exams, they are studying too much, or people who's changing the countries, changing the life, like from another city to another city, they're changing jobs. Actually, who's going through a lot of stress and worries and surpassing emotions too much. For me personally, I'm not quite sure why I had this. Because back then I wasn't a student anymore. I don't really remember that I was going through the terrifying things or that I would be super stressful about something. My life was kind of okayish. Well, maybe, I still think, maybe there's two things. Or there was a lot of emotions I experienced that night because I was traveling. I saw a city around. I heard a lot of interesting stories. I had a lot of fun with my friends. It was something unusual thing to know and to hear and to feel. Or I really bring the ghost to our hotel room, as that guy said. Who knows? So, it's not really funny thing to talk about. However, now I'm kind of laughing at it. Well, because it's funny, kind of funny experience. Hope it wasn't too boring thing to hear. And I'm very curious, did you experience, did you felt those things? Did it ever happen to you? Did it ever happen to you? And you was alone? You was with your friends? What happened? Personally, me, I would never wish to anyone to experience and to feel those emotions. When you cannot control the things around, nobody can help you, and not quite sure what it is. Because back then I didn't know. Now, yes, I know what it is, what is linked for. I read a lot of things. I even saw a lot of movies, horror movies, all those things. But back then, no. So it was for me very scary. So, leave a comment for me. Tell me what you think about, and see you around. My name is Dalia. This is my video blog. Bye bye.